coming up on this episode of Poker Jesus.
We make an easy re-raise to $995 and the big blind folds, and the straddler stacks off, holding 10-7-7-5 suited in clubs to his 10. Yes, children, Christmas has come early this year. Hello, I'm Anthony, and welcome to a very special 4th of July episode of my PLO vlog. For my viewers outside of the United States, I'm sorry you don't get to enjoy freedom, but rest assured, if you find any resources that our country wants, we'll bring democracy straight to your doorstep. I want to give a shout out to viewer Michael Sweeney, who mentioned in my last vlog that it's a great time to be dumping the house. Hello, ruffian. And it is. We are actually closing in under 3 weeks. We're really excited that we managed to get this done right before everything will probably crash. This episode we'll be playing our usual 3-6 and 5-10 PLO. And remember, kids, there's nothing more American than gambling. We're 8-handed playing 5-10. Middle position, the hijack, the cutoff, and the small blind all call the $10. And it's on us in the big blind holding ace-ace 9-4 suited in spades to our ace. These are so-so aces. We have a nut suit, which is great, but that's all the 9 is good for, as it doesn't connect with any other cards to make a straight. Being deep stacked with over $3,200 and out of position against multiple opponents, one whom also has over $3,000 and a few with $1,100, we opt to maintain pot control and keep our holding disguised, checking our option. The flop falls Queen 5 deuce with 1 heart and 2 spades. The small blind, who is shorter stacked with just over $400, leads right out for $50. With the nut flush draw, the gut shot wheel draw, and the overpair, we opt to isolate and raise it up to $200. Our hand is certainly strong enough that we don't hate just calling and letting others into the pot, or potentially back raising them if it comes to that, but we really dislike letting players outdraw us without charging them to do so. I'd hate to call and have a non-spade Broadway card peel off, and now have to be in a tough spot against someone who's got 2 pair. Surprisingly, the early position limper cold calls the bet and my raise, as does the cutoff, and the small blind who bet folds. Not what we were expecting at all. The turn is the 4 of hearts, and with $700 in the pot and facing 2 opponents who both only have around $900 to $1,000 left in their stack, we decide to continue the aggression and bet the full pot. It's unlikely we'll be up against someone with ace-3 here, given we have 2 of the aces, or 3-6 chasing a gut shot. We also block the nut hearts and should still be ahead of our opponent's ranges here. If someone was slow playing a set of queens waiting for a safe turn, well, we can't fold now and we still have some outs. The early position player just calls a $700 bet, leaving himself $294 behind. I'm going to note this guy is a massive calling station. The river falls the 5 of hearts, pairing the board and bringing in the backdoor hearts. With $2,100 in the pot, and our opponent having less than $300 behind, we're never folding, and we opt to rip it in. He may have been chasing a weaker spade draw than our own, perhaps with a pair of queens to go with it. After putting in around $900 out of his stack, he folds, holding on to his remaining 3. 5-handed playing 3-6 under the gun and the button limp in the small blind holding King-Queen Jack-3 suited in hearts to our king. We hate having the 3 as a dangler, but the high card strength, suitedness, and connectivity between the other 3 cards make this marginally playable short-handed. A super short stack who only has $50 left raises to $30 from the big blind, and the other 2 limpers both call, and we come along also. The flop looks pretty favorable, coming King 10-9 with 2 diamonds and 1 spade. We flop the nut straight plus have backdoor full house potential. If we were facing deeper stacked opponents when we're out of position and also deep stacked, we'd want to exercise caution in a spot like this, as you can wind up free rolled where you are hard pressed to improve your hand, but could be up against the same straight who also has redraws. Given all of our opponents are on very short stacks, we just lead right out for 120. 2 of our opponents get their stacks in, and we're up against the original raiser who has ace-queen 10 deuce, having flopped middle pair and a gut shot to the nut straight. Our other opponent has a pretty good hand against us, holding King-King 8-3 suited in diamonds to his 8. He's flopped top set and a flush draw. Looking at the equities, we have 32%, the original raiser less than 7, and the guy with top set and the flush draw is almost 61% to win. The turn and the river both fall diamonds, and he's going to take this one down. Seven-handed playing 3-6, the two players under the gun both limp in and next act with king-queen, 10-9 suited in clubs to our king, we call as well. You could raise to isolate, but most of these players are relatively short-stacked and fortunately no one at the table covers us. I prefer to pull players into the pot and get them to make larger mistakes post-flop, rather than play pre-flop bingo. The button calls and the big blind checks his option. We go 5 ways to a beautiful-looking flop, Jack 8-2, with the Jack 8 of clubs. The big blind checks and under the gun leads for 25. The next player calls, and now it's on us. Our hand is an absolute monster in this spot. We've got the second nut flush draw, plus a big wrap straight draw. We can hit a 7, 9, 10, or queen to make the nut straight. Given our hand is so huge, we don't want to scare anyone off, and we just call as well. The other two players fold, and we see a queen of clubs on the turn. Both of our opponents check to us. We've turned the second nuts, and an important concern is that we don't block any of the cards on the flop. Given the flush and straight both came in, and we have both, our opponents both checked. It's much more likely either or both of them has a set or 2 pair rather than a flush or a straight. We don't want to permit them to outdraw us free of charge, plus being last to act and betting full pot might be viewed with suspicion and we could get a light call. We go for it betting $108, but they both lay it down.
We interrupt this vlog in progress to bring you a special report.
This just in! Breaking news! Our top story tonight. My research has led me to believe that CoinFlex is a scam and a Ponzi scheme, and that YouTubers like Doug Polk are trying to take your money. Everyone's trying to sell you something. There are bad people out there that are going to try and take your money, try and sell you a bill of goods. They're going to try and sell you on a dream that doesn't actually exist, just hoping that you'll buy in or that many people will buy in and then they can peace out before everything collapses. Well, that's what CoinFlex looks like to me. And anytime you see someone pushing something like CoinFlex at this recent CoinFlex conference, you should probably be a little worried. I want to announce I'm officially sponsored by CoinFlex, cryptocurrency derivatives exchange. I didn't want to have to put my sponsor in the video, but when you're this bad at poker because the game has passed you by and you're financially struggling, well, you got to make ends meet somehow. We're under attack. If you see someone promoting this garbage, hit that downvote button.
CoinFlex announced overnight it was freezing withdrawals over extreme market conditions and uncertainty.
For some reason, they want to keep those Bitcoins that you deposited. And I'm not really able to say why they might want to keep your Bitcoins, but I think you guys might be able to figure it out.
No. That's a scam.
There are many people out there trying to use you for their own personal gain. Every cryptocurrency is legit. And make sure to do your part to get the word out about what's happening here. If you see a video where someone is promoting CoinFlex and using that to try and make money, downvote that video, leave a comment, and try and fight the good fight. It's all gonna fail.
Not much really to say about that Doug Polk guy. I mean, he's a big pigeon really in life, you know what I mean? He's sitting in his little bedroom making these little videos, can't be online no more, trying to sell his little scam to everyone else. It's like down about 600k and the geezer can't win online no more, innit? He can't win online, but yet he's still trying to sell his shit, so it's bullshit. All he does really is try and sell his shit and talk about people we don't know about, know anything about, just to get attention. If I meet him and he even looks at me bad, that's a bad look for him, what's gonna happen. So fuck that guy anyway.
Somebody ban this guy.
And with his goofy voice and all things like that. Hey guys, Doug Polk here. Whilst I will say I'm really good at poker, I cannot beat it anymore. And whilst my voice goes high, sometimes it goes low at other times. And my name's Doug Polk. I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years, but I'm pretty sure we've never had sex with the lights on because I'm such a sad loser.
The audacity, the downright disrespect.
8-handed, playing 5-10, it's folded to us in the hijack. And we look down at the ace-jack, jack-7 suited in spades to our jack. We don't like not having a suited ace, and the gaps between our cards to make straights is certainly a cause for concern. However, with so many folds to us, we decide to take control of the spot and make it 35 to go. It folds to the big blind, who defends. The flop is ace-10-4 with 2 diamonds and 1 heart. Our opponent checks to us, and given we have a tight image, and a lot of our opponents assume we're raising with aces when we choose to raise, we go for the full pot of 75. We don't have a ton of ways to improve, and there's a number of turn cards we won't be happy to see, that our opponent might bluff if we just check this flop after potting pre-flop. Our opponent makes the call, and we see a king of clubs on the turn. Once again, he checks to us. We've picked up a gut shot straight draw to the Broadway, and we block the stone cold nuts here as well. I think we should probably continue betting given we block the nuts and we shouldn't expect to get check raised too often. But we pot control in position, figuring our opponent may be on the diamond draw, and could opt to bluff the river if he whiffs after we show weakness on the turn. The river couldn't be any prettier, the Queen of Hearts, giving us the stone cold nuts. Our opponent leads out for the full pot of $225, and we give him the old min click back cause fuck you, but he lays it down. 8-handed playing 5-10, it's folded to us in middle position holding ace-queen, 5-4, suited in diamonds to our ace. We make the call and 3 other players come along, but then the big blind, who just can't help himself, raises to 60. Naturally, everyone calls the raise, and now the big blind will be playing a bloated pot out of position against the majority of the field. Well done, sir. The flop is 10-7-2 with 2 diamonds and 1 club. The small blind checks, and the original raiser leads out for $200 into the $300 pot. We could raise here as this board isn't likely to have helped what his raising range should be, but given we have no pair and don't mind letting other weaker flush draws chase, we just call. It folds to the button who makes it $1,100 to go. The other 2 players fold, and since our opponent only has 137 left after that, there's a decent amount of dead money out there as well. We decide to gamble with our nut flush draw plus some backdoor straight draws. I don't expect to be ahead, but let's go for it. He shows down the ace-10, 10-8 suited in spades to his ace. This is one of the times we get it in bad, with only around 32% equity. We agree to run it twice. The first run out gives our opponent quad 10s. Well, that's out of the way. The second run out, however, sees us pick up 2 non-pairing diamonds to chop it up. We're 8-handed playing 5-10, and under the gun has straddled to 20. Next to act holding ace-ace, king-10 suited in spades to our ace. We make it $75 to go. It folds all the way around to the big blind who calls the 75, and then the original straddler re-raises to 305. One thing you'll learn about players who frequently straddle, especially if they're straddling from out of position, is that they're generally degenerate action junkies and they just want to gamble. We make an easy re-raise to $995 and the big blind folds, and the straddler stacks off, holding 10-7, 7-5 suited in clubs to his 10. Yes, children, Christmas has come early this year. We're a solid 65% equity for stacks with some dead money in the middle. Let's not celebrate just yet though. You never know how bad this game is going to fuck you. The flop is pretty solid. Queen 6-6 with 2 of our suit. We're now a commanding 87% to win. The turn falls the 9 of diamonds and we're 87.5% to win, but our opponent has picked up some additional outs. They can not only hit one of the 2 remaining 7s to beat us, but now any 8 will give them a backdoor gut shot straight to get there as well. And if I'm going to lose, this is usually how these fuckers get me. But somehow, some way, defying all the odds that seem to support the underdogs against me, we hold, as the 4 of hearts falls on the river, and we bust this dumb fuck's ass. 7-handed playing 3-6, we're under the gun, holding ace-7, 6-2, double suited in clubs and spades. The 2 kind of kills our hand a bit, and we can't depend on the 6-high spades to win us much, but with the suited ace and some connectivity, we can't pass it up and put our $6 in. Next to act makes it $27, and after players come over from other tables to make the call, we wind up going 6 ways to a flop of king 6 deuce with 2 clubs and 1 diamond. It's checked to us, and with bottom 2 pair and the nut flush draw on a board that shouldn't hit our opponents too hard all that often, we leave right out for $162. The cutoff and big blind both cold call our bet, and we go to the turn, which is the beautiful 2 of diamonds. It's checked over to us. And before I bet here, I want to add a disclaimer that underfulls can be big money losers in pot limit Omaha long term. However, in this spot, it's not too likely we're facing someone with the case 6s in the hole, since half the 6s are already accounted for. We could be running into king 2, which is ahead, but kings and 2s aren't cards played together all that often. Likewise, someone who flopped top set would likely raise the flop for protection and to charge anyone drawing to the straight or the flush. So I figure we're well ahead here, and I don't want some yahoo with pocket 8s getting there free of charge. We bet right out for the full pot, and we're caught off guard when the cutoff stacks off for $640. He shows us the king 7, no suits. Yes, he called a raise with this hand, and then we get the perfect setup to double him up. Well, we aren't completely dead. We can hit a deuce to make quads and ruin his night, and plenty of people have done it to us in the past, but we lack their white magic, and the 7 of spades on the river is no help. That's going to wrap up episode 18. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and we will see you in the next episode.
You know, after watching a video like this, sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I'll leave a comment, and sometimes I'll subscribe. Sometimes I'll even do all 3.